Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nisa, and please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and ring the bell. Everything I've linked to be linked to down below in the description, including the link tree which contains my socials, so don't forget to follow me on there. But I will be starting off by cutting her natural nails down, not too much, just enough to make them even. And this is just a straight edge nail clipper. You can use any nail clipper, but these are the ones that were on hand for me. And then after this, I will be removing the shine from her natural nail. I'm using a fine grit sanding band to remove the shine from her natural nail. I'm on a speed of 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs. I wouldn't go over 6 personally, but I'm also pushing her cuticle area like back, pushing it back so I don't have to use a cuticle pusher, because her skin type is kind of on the drier side to where it'll work with the drill bits. If I was working with somebody that has like more oily skin, I would have definitely went in there with the cuticle pusher to remove, like push that skin up a little bit more, and then go in with the drill bits, and then go in with the nippers to remove any excess. But yes, so I just used the sanding band for her, and it worked just fine to push everything back. And then after this, I do go in with another cuticle bit. This is from Nail Like Lucy, and it's just one to push up the cuticle area to see if there's anything I need to nip off, or it also buffs away, and I'm dusting off the nails. Then I go in with the tips. These are stiletto tips you can get from anywhere. I'm pretty sure these are from Wish or something, and I'm using KDS glue to make sure the tips glue down, and KDS glue has never failed me, and it dries super fast. So I'm gonna let you guys watch me apply these tips, and I will be back. So after all the tips are glued down, I'm going to be cutting the nails to her desired length.
That's good.
So for the other hand, I'm just going to match the nails up from cuticle to cuticle to make sure I get all the nails the same length. The reason why I do cuticle to cuticle, as you can see, the nail beds are different sizes. So when you match it up from cuticle to cuticle, you're going to get the same even length on both tips. A little bit easier instead of just matching it from tip to tip, because you can the nail bed can kind of be distorted, especially if you glued the tip down differently on one finger. You didn't glue it directly at the free edge in the exact same spot. It'll definitely throw you off a little bit, and you'll have wonky nails, wonky lengths. After the tips have been cut down, it's time to just shape the nails very, I was gonna say very lightly, but we're not keeping the shape. We're making them into coffin. So this is where you want to get your coffin shape already going, because once you apply your acrylic, it will take a shape from away from the shape just a little bit, but it shouldn't be that much. So when you go back into file after the acrylic is applied, your shape is already there for the most part. So this is where you really want to start to build your foundation. And then after I'm done shaping the nails, this is a Carlash 8080 grit hand file. I don't think I mentioned that, but after I'm done shaping the nails into a coffin shape, I'm going to start by removing the little part where the tip meets the natural nail, only filing on the tip for the most part, but if there's glue on the natural nail, I go ahead and remove that as well. And I'm just going back in with that same fine grit sanding band. In the previous clip, I was shaping the free edge, making sure it's 100% squared off and straight. So after this step, it'll be time for dehydrator and primer. So after I'm done blending in the tips, I'm going in one more time just to make sure the coffin is pretty tight and it's not so wide, and making sure it's not rounded. And then after this, I will be going in with the Model 1's Clear Acrylic, JC Beauty Concepts Acrylic, Cover Soft Nude by Balm Nails, Acrylic Creamery Size 12 Brush, and the Me Secret Primer and Dehydrator. And I'm starting off with the Me Secret Dehydrator because it removes any excess oils that may have gotten on the nail from me touching it. So, and by the way, that mark on my hand is eyeshadow, I think. But you want to make sure you apply this if they have like oily nail beds, but also if you were touching their nail beds during the filing process or anything like that, that will help it. And so this is the JC Beauty Concepts Primer, and I'm testing this out. So that's why I have the clear, JC Beauty Concepts Clear, because I want it to be the same system, because I want to see if that will help me with my lifting. Even though my mom doesn't really lift like that, I want to see how this primer was. And I do 2 coats as usual. 1 coat on each hand. I know you want to let the coats dry for like 30 seconds in between if you do 2 coats. So that's why I switch back and forth between hands. And now that the second coat has been applied to this one hand, I'm going to go in with the JC Beauty Concepts Clear and do a very thin clear base layer, just to make sure I really lock that primer in and nothing's gonna happen to it. I go ahead and do all 10 at once. I should say all 5 at once instead of doing it 1 at a time, because that primer is fresh and I'm using dryer beads as well. And I didn't really have much spillage on the sidewalls, because that's been my main issue, is trying to keep the sidewalls clean. That was my biggest issue. And on this set, I actually kept our sidewalls extremely clean, which I was very proud of. And it just took this layer, really, the clear base layer, because that's what's going to get you. It's not the colored ones, because you can see when that is spilling off, but you think that you just applied the clear and then you're good to go. But it was still spreading after it was spread out throughout the nail and blended out and all that. It was still somehow spreading because it wasn't dry yet. And I wasn't babysitting it. I was just leaving it as if it was done. So this is the second hand, and this is the second coat on her second hand. So after this, it'll be done with the primer, and I'll be done with the clear base layer. And the clear base layer is supposed to go all the way up on top of the tip, because when she comes in for a fill, there's no need to be like, oh, you can't get this next color, because the clear is supposed to be on top of the nail tip to protect it just a little bit. But you go back in for fills as well. So I recommend taking just like a thin layer on top of the tip as well, not just only on the nail bed portion, because you can't clip the entire tip off and just file the acrylic down really thin on the nail bed and then apply a new tip and then start your next set if you really want to. But I know she was talking about a fill, so this is just like the easier method to me. And after I'm done with this, it'll be time for the nude acrylic.
That's good.
If you do a clear base layer, I recommend you do it thin and a little bit on the drier side. And also, it is hotter in my room. So you can kind of see, well, you could see in the beginning, the fan like pushing the little towel up on the side, but it was still pretty hot in there. So the beads were drying quickly as well, like the acrylic was drying faster. So I also put the JCVD Concepts little scent drops in there, the little odor neutralizer drops. I put those in there, and of course it worked as usual, and it doesn't change the consistency of the acrylic at all. And you guys, my application was actually really, really good, and I did keep the shape very well. I did use dryer beads, and on this hand I didn't really showcase me using the Model 1's clear, but I did use it a lot drier than before, so it worked perfectly. And I only used the clear where I didn't want to build up the nude, because she did want a little bit of a transparency look. But I think this is her second hand, so I kind of did like forget a little bit, and I was like, okay, the part where I'm putting the transparent is going to be covered up anyways, due to the French tip, so it kind of didn't matter if I put the clear there or not. So I didn't try and stick to, well, I did try and stick to a particular method, like do the tip first or put it down not as low as I can get it, because like I said, it was kind of drying, but put it where the tip meets the natural nail and then work my way to the tip and then go back to the cuticle area. And that's what I did for the most part. Sometimes I did start at the tip, just out of habit, kind of, sort of. And these nails weren't thick at all, but they did have a little bit of an apex due to the length. So I did switch to the Beetles size 12 brush, I believe, and I will let you guys watch. So now that the nails are complete, here you can see a good look at them, and they were very, very smooth. I have been not taking like too much time more in my application, but just making sure my application is going to be smooth. So when I go into file, I don't have to file that much, and you don't want any acrylic on the skin, period. Like my cuticle area has always been fine with me not getting acrylic on the skin once I learned how to, but my side walls was the issue. And my issue was I was using all my beads way too wet. So use them on the drier side, but not too dry, because if it's too dry, it'll create lifting as well, because you can't get that bond. That liquid will help it bond, but if you have too much liquid, it'll make it spread. So right now, all I'm doing is separating the nails pretty much from the skin if it is connected, and also bringing in the shape just a little bit will help me visualize, and it'll help this drill bit right here not catch along the sidewalls if it is connected to the skin, because if it's connected to the skin, the drill bit itself will be the one disconnecting it, so it's not going to want to go across that area seamlessly. So I'm also flattening the cuticle area out. I've seen a lot of people do it like this, like where if it's a little bit too high, instead of like flattening out with the brush, or they try to flatten it out with the brush, but it made a little bit of like a lip right there. So I tried to flatten it out, and it looked really good. And so far she has no lifting. So that's pretty good. And she's had these nails since last Sunday, I think. I'll figure out the date and tell you guys, but she's had it for a little while, and it's fine. Like, they haven't lifted. She hasn't told me it's lifted. So yes, so I'm using, this is the Pana 5-in-1 fine drill, by the way, and I couldn't see, so I went ahead and dusted the nail off just because I wanted to make sure I was flattening the acrylic only, and I wasn't going to touch her nail bed, because the nudes are kind of similar to the nail bed, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't going through too many layers of acrylic, because we just have clear underneath there. So I didn't want to like hit her natural nail or create a ring on her natural nail, because when I first started doing nails, that's what I would do. I would over file during this portion a little bit, but I wasn't filing on the acrylic enough to make it where if you make this part right here really flush, you won't have an issue with lifting because it's flat. There's nothing for anything to catch on. But if you leave like a little bit of a lip there or a little bit of a hump, that's not the apex, because remember the apex, you can see it on the pinky, but you can see where the apex is and then where the cuticle area is, and that's what you want. So you want the area to be a little bit more flat, and I think that's how I'm gonna do it now on. If I need to flatten it, I'll just go ahead and flatten it instead of just leaving it like that and hoping that there's no lifting and hoping that it's sealed, and like just going around the cuticle area only, I should say. I think that this has definitely been an improvement, and I'm very proud of my progress so far. And the base of these nails looks so good. I think the design was cute too, but the base is definitely my favorite. And the gel polishes, you guys, work so well. But I will talk to you guys when we get to that portion. After this, I will go in with a 180 grit sanding band, the same one from earlier, and just really make sure I get out any of the deep scratches caused by this drill bit. And you want to use this drill bit a little bit faster as well, not too fast, but a little bit faster, just to make sure it can actually cut through the acrylic smoothly and not skip or leave ridges. And don't press down too hard, because if you press down too hard and unevenly, that's when you use leave the ridges. And also it's a 5-in-1 drill bit, so it has like a fine is the tip, and then medium, and then I think the bottom one is coarse. So if you accidentally hit it with the coarse one, you're gonna leave a line, like you're gonna leave a deep scratch in there. So just be careful with that and be very mindful of that. After I'm done using the sanding band, that helps to really get out any of the deep scratches. But sometimes you might need to go in if the scratches are super, super deep, because you weren't really paying attention. You will definitely need to use a hand file later on, like a softer grit one, like a 100 or a 180 grit hand file to really blend those scratches out. But I'm going in with an 80 grit hand file just to redefine the shape and get it back, because sometimes you can bump into the corners with the sanding band or any other drill bit and really lose that shape. And I'm going in with the free edge one more time just to make sure everything is super, super straight. And after this, I do go in with the 100, 180 grit hand file. These are from Amazon, and they're very soft. These ones are super, super soft. So it doesn't do anything too crazy to the nails. Like it doesn't do anything like that. But this one right here, this buffer, this mini buffer, I definitely should have used a reds buffer because it smoothed out the nails too much. And at the same time, because it's so small, it was like a little bit inconsistent where it left some super deep ridges in certain parts and not in every part. And then it just buffed the nails out too smooth overall because of the grit. And I went ahead and dusted off the nails, and now I'm cleansing them with some alcohol. And then I went ahead and added some primer because I buffed the nails off too smooth. So it's going to help the gel polish adhere. You can do this with something like Protein Bond, Young Nails Protein Bond, and this is You're the Pink by Madam Glam, and I'm also going to be using the Madam Glam top coat later on. So for the pinky, middle finger, and index finger, I'm going to be doing a French tip, and then for the ring finger and the thumb, they're just going to be solid nails. So I'm using the Getting Out 32 3-piece brush set, and then the Getting Out 32 cleanup brush with some acetone as well. And I'm just using this Madam Glam gel polish, so which I got in the previous video. I picked all three of these colors, by the way. The blue I picked, the yellow, and the pink. And because my mom said she wanted a pink, so that's why I picked it. And she said she wanted the 3D croc design. So I went ahead and did that for her. And I won't have all of that in here because my phone actually died while I was doing her nails. But of course, we do have the pictures and all that. So this is extremely great coverage on the gel polish, by the way. I do have a discount code with Madam Glam. It's Anisa30_1. And I do have a link that's linked down below in the description that'll take you directly to the website and apply my code. And so you don't have to add it in yourself. And you can click the pay as you go option if you do not want to become a VIP member. So after I'm done tracing the French out, you can do a second coat with the gel polish and just really make sure you clean any of the excess gel polish off, because it'll leave your French not as clean. And when you're trying to do your French, make sure you do one continuous smooth motion. So these gel polishes do work extremely well for nail art, I've noticed, but you want to be careful and make sure you're not applying too thick of a layer, because then it won't cure properly in the lamp. But this is a 48-watt lamp, and I'm pretty sure Madam Glam does have a lamp as well. But this is a 48-watt lamp, and it cures just fine in 30 seconds. Like, there's literally, like, I've never had any curing issues with, like, a black or anything like that. So these colors cure perfectly in 30 seconds. I don't have any issues with me going in and wiping up with acetone and it just, like, taking some of the polish off. Because if you guys have tried any other brands that say that it cures perfectly in 30 seconds and you can do nail art and all that stuff with it, sometimes when you use the acetone and you try and clean up your line that's already cured, if you add any more gel polish on top, it eats up what you've already done. So this, I didn't notice that at all. I wiped away like a little bit too much gel polish, and after it was cured, like I cured it, put a second coat on, and I wiped up too much gel polish, and it still did not eat through that initial layer of gel polish. So yeah, I like this gel polish so far. And I will definitely be buying some more because now that I know it works for nail art, it's a game changer. And let me know if you guys would like me to try anything from their website, because I definitely will. And I will most definitely pick up some more polishes from them. I know they do have a new collection that just came out as well. So yes, I'm gonna let you guys watch me do the rest of these nails, and then I'll be back at the next part. Sorry if you guys are all Frenched out. I know, but everyone loves French tips. French tips are like never going away, I feel. So it's extremely good to know how to do them. So I'm going in with the Madame Glam top coat, and I'm going to cure it for a full 60 seconds or 30 seconds. I don't remember which one I did, but I do wipe that tacky layer off because it does cure with one, and you don't want that when you're mixing in any types of powders or glitters or anything like that, because it's just going to stick in it. So that's why I wanted to cover up this layer of color just to make sure it's protected. So I'm going in and wiping off that tacky layer, and you want to make sure you don't really get it on the skin. I'm not really wiping it on your skin, but I'm going in, I think this is with the, yes, the marble brush. And this is not my best 3D croc, I don't think. Or maybe I'm just being too overcritical, but I think that it could have been a tiny bit better. But like overall, it still looks really, really, really good. And I also think that I've like, this is different because I used the Model 1's powder this time, but this gel polish actually absorbs the powder differently. So what you want to do is you want to draw your 3D croc effect, and you do not top coat after this. That's why we top coat it initially as well, because it's going to make it a lot easier on that fringe, and we don't have to really trace around it at all. So you do your 3D croc design. The middle lines, like the lines going down the center, are longer, and then the ones going down the sides are going to be shorter. Or you can do dots going down the sides, and you can do the lines on the sides going like kind of like back and forth, if you know what I'm talking about. And then before you cure, you go in with your powder. You can go in with a acrylic powder, a pink acrylic powder, a clear acrylic powder. That's what I'm doing, is clear. You can go in with a glitter, just anything before you cure it, because once you cure it, you lock it in place. But you do want to make sure it's completely absorbed and you see nothing shiny coming from the powder, not the powder, the nails, before you put it in the light. So if the gel where you put the powder on top of it is still shiny, do another like 2 little coats of powder, wait for that to absorb, and it should stay matte, and then go ahead and cure it for a full 60 seconds because it's harder for the light to penetrate. So after that, you want to dust the nails off and go ahead, apply you some cuticle oil. And here are the nails. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share, and ring the bell. Everything I've linked to be linked to down in the description. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.